Hey everyone, how's it going? EA Bland here, and welcome back to another episode of The Year I Became a Film Critic. Now, you won't see me on screen today, but today is going to be part one of a 7-part series where I kind of take you through my entire DVD collection. Now, this shelf is empty, of course, because we're going to put everything that goes on here back in its place. And again, as I mentioned before, I'll kind of break down the 4 main categories that each film fell in, whether I've seen it, loved it, wanted it in my collection, or seen it, enjoyed it, hadn't seen it in a while, wanted it, whether I heard of it, never saw it, or it's just a blind buy. For some reason or another, it intrigued me, but I've never heard of it, never seen it. And I'll also try to remember to let you know whether it was new or if I thrifted it. Now, I have only just started creating this collection at the end of July of this year. Before this, I've actually never really collected anything in my entire life. Never felt that I had the proper space of my own to collect things and put that energy into something, building something that represented who I am. And so finally, I had the time, I had the space, and I said, you know what? Let's invest in this. This is what we want to pursue as our career going forward throughout the rest of our life. We should probably know a bit more about it. So that is what really led me to one of the reasons that led me to building my own collection. Another reason was that since about the end of January or February, I haven't had any internet in my apartment. So I haven't really been able to stream anything, and I didn't always want to have to go to the movie theaters to see something. Even that became costly over a while. So I said, you know what? Maybe it's time to invest in physical media and start building out a collection. And that's what we did. So first up, we're going to start with Serana, starring George Clooney, Matt Damon, and Jeffrey Wright. Now, this is on a particular format called VCD, and this is actually the precursor, VCD being video compact disc. This is the precursor to the DVD, and according to Wikipedia, it was pretty popular, especially within the Asian market, of course, until DVD really started to pick up some steam, and folks realized that it was actually cheaper and more cost-effective just to go with DVDs. So we're starting off with VCD. Next, we're going to go into Blu-rays. And the way that I've kind of set up my system so far, since I have limited space, is really just to break it up by format, style, and then within those, it's going to be by alphabetical order versus, say, genre, right? So we'll have VCD, Blu-ray, Steelbook, and then DVDs. I don't have a 4K player nor a 4K TV and have no interest in getting one anytime soon. So you'll see very little of those within my collection unless, let's say, I thrifted it and it was part of something that I really wanted to see and I may not get another chance to get it. So I picked it up and it's just there. But I would likely never use it on its own. So then next we're going to move into Blu-rays now. So we start out with 300 by Zack Snyder. This film, I remember seeing it in theaters and just being blown away by the visuals, and just as it says here, a spectacular visual feast that is as inventive and groundbreaking as The Matrix, the first Matrix. That is how I felt when I watched this. It was just blown away by the visuals and Zack Snyder's, very unique style and vision. And I really love this film. Got this thrifted, $2. Loved it, needed it, wanted it, found it, saw it, got it. Bang. Next, we're going to move into Sam Mendes's 1917 on Blu-ray and DVD and digital code. This was an incredible war film. I saw it, haven't seen it in a while, wanted to rewatch, and picked it up. That, again, was thrifted. Then we have Angels and Demons. This is a 2-disc theatrical and extended edition set. You can see it there. It's a little thicker than your standard Blu-ray set. And then we've got disc 1 there. Then what I thought is really, really cool about this, which I didn't realize until I started recording, or just before I started recording, is that this actually comes with a abridged audiobook of Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. That is super, super cool. So I think this is a great find. I really enjoyed this series, or this trilogy, and so I wanted to get all of them. I already had this one, and then what you'll see next is going to be the Da Vinci Code. This is also an extended cut 2-disc set. This one is still factory sealed, so that was a great find. And what I've done is, if let's say I have the whole collection or a majority of the collection, I will keep it next to the film that it's, you know, supposed to be with. So Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, which is the second part. So I've kept it in alphabetical order versus series order. So Da Vinci Code, then Angels and Demons, next would be Inferno, which I still need to find. Then I have one of my favorite films of, I believe this was 2020, and that's The Batman. And I love this movie. I went ahead and, because I couldn't really find it elsewhere, thrifted in a good condition. I bought it on Blu-ray and DVD, full price. No, excuse me, it was 20% off, but, you know, full retail price that they had it at, which was $19.99 over at Barnes & Noble's. And I really love this. And the reason why I think I love this film more than other Batman movies is the detective aspect of it, which you see glimpses and pieces of in, let's say, Nolan's Batman, but his was more on the, you know, genius sort of technical aspect of things, right? The research and development part versus the actual detective work. Then we've got a double feature, our first one in the collection. This is going to be Black Hawk Down, which is one of my favorite Josh Hartnett movies, who's also a favorite actor of mine, and Bruce Willis, Tears of the Sun. I haven't seen this since I was maybe in my teens, and I do remember crying at the end of this, and I haven't seen it since. So I saw it, loved it, and wanted to pick that up. That was also thrifted. Our next thrifted one is going to be Blade Runner, the final cut, featuring Harrison Ford. It's got some special features on here, introduction by Ridley Scott, 3 filmmaker commentaries. So that's fantastic. I mean, essentially, and the thing that I think people forget when you're looking at, you know, a physical DVD or Blu-ray, something like this, is especially when you get a full commentary, you're really getting, say, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 films in one, because it's different perspectives on top of that one film. So you're really getting a super huge bang for your buck. I think I got this for like $4.99, and I already had Blade Runner 2049 on DVD that I think I thrifted. And so I saw this, picked it up. I think I would likely upgrade 2049 to Blu-ray if I can find it. But I won't buy it just yet until I find it and can thrift it. I'm very sort of frugal in that sense. All right, so next up we've got The Bourne Legacy, Blu-ray DVD combo. This was thrifted. This is not my favorite in the Bourne series, but I did want to complete the series. So I already have the first trilogy on DVD in a really, really cool box set, which we'll get into part 2. But I figure, you know what, eventually I'll upgrade everything. So I picked this one up, and Jason Bourne. I actually got these both in the same day. Both of these, again, Blu-ray and DVD combo packs. Love the series, and I think this is, out of the 2 that came after the original Bourne, this is definitely my favorite. So again, those are next up. Then we move into our first sort of family film and 4K video, and this is going to be Disney Pixar's Brave. I really, really enjoyed this one, and I love the story. I love the 3 brothers. Loved the relationship between, you know, the mom and the daughter, and my own daughter. She actually really enjoyed this. So I made sure that when I'm looking or picking up a family movie like this, I want to first make sure that it's something that we've enjoyed together, and so when we spend time together, she can actually enjoy it as well. So this is a 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and digital code. Most of these being thrifted. I believe the digital codes have been used already. I haven't really checked them, but we'll look into that. Then next up, we move into a boutique DVD distributor called Arrow Video, which you can see right there. And this is Donnie Darko. I really wanted to see this movie for a while, and I just haven't got around to it on streaming because it bounces around from one person to one service to the next, to the next, to the next. It's kind of annoying. So now I own it. I actually have 2 copies of this. I found a special DVD version, which is the director's cut. And then I think this is just the theatrical version, right? So I have both that I can kind of bounce back and forth and see which one I like more. I really enjoy watching director's cuts. I think that, the director has a certain vision that they have of the film that they're making, and it's always nice to see what that vision was versus just what we're shown on the big screen. Because of course, a lot of the times, that's going to be the, studio bigwigs stepping in or some, the Academy or of Motion Picture Arts who will go ahead and say, no, you need to cut this, you need to cut this. And it gets very, bureaucratic versus this is the director's vision. This is how they, interpreted the screenplay. And it's always nice to see what that looks like, have that option. And it usually gives more context. It gives more story. It kind of shows you why certain choices were made versus just watching it as a deleted scene. There's no sort of context. So this here is a Blu-ray. This was on sale. I actually got this for $10. Original retail price was $40. And Donnie Darko Blu-ray. Next up, we have one of my favorite films from 2024. This is The Fall Guy, featuring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. This is the extended cut. Well, includes both the theatrical and the extended. I actually enjoyed the extended cut. Again, getting that sort of full vision. And this was thrifted as well. So I think when it first came out, it was closer to around like $40. And I got this for $13. So that was pretty cool. Then we have The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, Ian Holm, and Mila Jovovich. And this is Experience High Definition. So yeah, this was actually an upgrade from the DVD version that I found, and from the very first, thrift pick visit that I did. And I loved it. So we got this full HD, 1080p. Got some bonus features on there. Let's see. You just got a full-length trivia track, it says. So, whatever. Next up, next family film, Frozen, Collector's Edition. It's Frozen. Don't really have to go into much more than that. You know the deal. Then next up, we've got Gone Girl. Gone Girl, this is going to be a Blu-ray, and this is called a Digipack. So Digipacks are going to be these cardboard sort of cases versus, say, the hard case. And this one was really cool. I got this specific version because at Barnes & Noble's, they had this and the regular Blu-ray case, both at $14.99. I was like, okay, that's cool. What's the difference? Well, number one, this is going to be a Digipack. Number two, it comes with this really cool book, animated, little storybook. And I haven't read it yet. We may go into that on another video, but I thought that was pretty cool, very interesting, and I loved the presentation of it. So, Gone Girl. Let's see what's next. All right, next we're going to have Harry Potter, the complete 8-film collection, and this is all on Blu-ray. This, again, is also going to be a Digipack of sorts, and it comes in these really cool, and this is the UK box set, by the way, which you can tell by the Philosopher's Stone. Now, I had to look this up because I remember here in the US, I remember it being the Sorcerer's Stone. Well, it turns out that there were two different versions. They did a US version, which has Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and then they have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone out in the UK. And on a few of these films, they had to shoot different scenes with like just a few changes in the dialogue for both the US and the UK version. So that was really interesting, which was why I got it on the cheap. I think it was maybe $20 for this version, this set, versus the $50 that they were asking for the US version. And just look at this artwork. Look at this artwork. That's, so we got year 1, the Philosopher's Stone, year 2, the Chamber of Secrets. We've got year 3, Prisoner of Azkaban. This is actually my favorite of the entire series. We'll get into more of that later. The Goblet of Fire, year 4. We've got, Order of the Phoenix, year 5. Half-Blood Prince, year 6. Then The Deathly Hallows, part 1, 7, and The Deathly Hallows, part 2. Again, super, super cool. This is how they then present them in the packs, right? So you save on cost and still get this really cool box set. And like I said, I picked this up on Amazon, I think for maybe around 20 or 25. And that was really cool. And that's you can see the side there, year 1, 2, so on and so forth. And when these movies first came out, I never read the books. When they first came out, I didn't really watch them and enjoy them. It took me a while to sort of warm up to the series. And watching them now again, years later, and on my own and at my own time, I've sort of began to build or establish a new sort of relationship or connection to them. And I really enjoy having them and just watching them, and, kind of reminds me of having my daughter here. Next up is the Hunger Games 5-film collection, Blu-ray, DVD, and digital combo. And again, it also comes with this cool art. It's got like 4 or 5 cards in here with different images. I haven't actually opened this up yet. I think I'm going to wait a while. And then this is the collection. It has all 5 films: Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingbird 1 and 2, and the newly made Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Open that up. And you've got all of the films in there. So super cool. And yeah, I also really enjoyed this series, and especially over the other sort of teenage kind of young adult fiction movie adaptations like The Maze Runner or Divergent. I think this series did it better, Then next up, we've got the magnificent John Wick 4. Keanu Reeves. I got this one for $24.99 at Barnes & Noble's. This is the Blu-ray, DVD, and digital combo. So nice little slipcover there. Same concept art or same artwork as the case. It's got some cool features and commentaries and featurettes. So I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I use a 5-star system. If you use a 10-point system, you can kind of do the math. I saw this, I think, 5 times last year. 5 times. It was that good to me. And I have the John Wick 1 through 3 trilogy or not trilogy, the set on DVD. So I may upgrade eventually. I was a little impatient when I got this, and then I ended up seeing like the other or all 4 on DVD, but on Blu-ray, got all 4 though. So we have it. That's the biggest thing for me. Then next up, we have one of my favorite films, La La Land, starring again Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Blu-ray, DVD, digital HD, written and directed by Damien Chazelle, who I also find to is becoming one of my favorite directors. I just love the dialogue and the way that it's shot and directed. So that's really, really, really cool. I got this one. I also think this was on sale. So at Barnes & Noble's, La La Land. We are at about the halfway point. We are going to power through now. Next up, we've got another favorite film of mine, Lucky Number 11, with Josh Hartnett. Again, Josh Hartnett, Lucy Liu, Bruce Willis, Stanley Tucci, Morgan Freeman, Sir Ben Kingsley. Really, really love this film. Me and my compadres actually just did a Zoom call review of this film, and maybe if we, get it edited, clean it up a little bit, we can share that. But this is just, I'll go into this more in a separate video, but love that. That was also thrifted. Hunger Games was brand new. Harry Potter was brand new. Gone Girl, brand new. John Wick and La La Land, all brand new. Next up, thrifted, we have Lord of the Rings 3-film collection. Funny enough, this is going to be the theatrical version, by the way. Funny enough, I found the first 2 DVDs, the Lord of the Ring, the Fellowship of the Rings, and the Two Towers on DVD, but I couldn't find a good copy of The Return of the King. So I kind of gave up hope. Then went into one of my local shops and found this Blu-ray for $2 and the disc pristine condition. I instantly picked it up and now I've got all 3. Next up, thrifted, is The Magnificent Seven. Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke. Washington and Hawke, 2 of my favorites, all-time favorites. Got that. Then we have the Mexico trilogy. Now, this has El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. This is, as you can see, original retail price, $100, 50% off at Barnes & Nobles for their Arrow sale, which I think was in September. It might still be going in October. I don't know, but pick this up half price. Plus, I think I used another $5 in rewards. And this is going to be just, I believe, Blu-ray. Yeah, Ultra HD Blu-ray. So no 4K in here, which is fine. And we've got a ton of extra features in there. I have not opened this yet. It is still factory sealed. I will do a video where I unbox that and kind of go through everything that's included, and we'll discuss that. Again, I think the most beautiful and incredible films of 2023 was Oppenheimer. This is, I think I also bought this one new, and it was, I think, like $24.99. It's really beautiful when you look at Christopher Nolan's work and you see that so much of what he's done ties back into other films that he's done. I think this was also kind of a love letter to sort of their working relationship, Cillian Murphy and him, where Cillian has been in a ton of his movies over the past 20 years. And if you look at even there's this camera technique that he uses, right? It's this sort of, or visual effects that he uses, which is sort of the shaky kind of image. That goes all the way back, that introduction, I can't say Memento, but as far as I can see, is Batman Begins, where we're introduced to the Scarecrow, which is his character, and he gives off the effects of the drug that he uses to kind of poison his victims is this sort of shaky camera effect. And when I rewatched Batman Begins the other day, I was like, that is so poetic that I can't even begin to describe like how incredible the mind of Nolan is, to just the foresight and, you know, to be able to make that connection. It's phenomenal. Next up, Thrifted, is Public Enemies. Johnny Depp, Christian Bale, and Marion, I'll be honest, I can't pronounce her last name, but this was directed by Michael Mann. I do not particularly enjoy his style of films, but I really did enjoy this gangster film from him. He also did Collateral, which I enjoyed, but not as much as this. And he also directed the very famous Heat with Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer, which I did not enjoy at all. I respect it. It is a very well-made film. I just did not enjoy it. Then we've got Perfect Days. This was actually highly recommended to me by a director called Wim Wenders. This is the first Criterion Collection edition, which we have in our collection here. This is going to be spine number 1226. And this is the first film that I own of Wim Wenders, and there's two others that I'm looking to purchase soon, which are a movie called Anselm, and then I forget what the other one is. I'll go back to it. I'll add it in the notes below. But really cool, and I want to go into that one in another video. Next up, another Criterion collection is going to be Roma. We got this for 30% off. It's still factory sealed. It's another digipack. So again, you have that sort of cardboard casing. This is by Alfonso Cuarón, who also did, as I was going to mention earlier, Prisoner of Azkaban in the Harry Potter collection. And I did not know until I was looking up this film, and I was like, that makes sense. Because he also did another movie that I enjoyed that I think I either own or I've seen, one of the two. Doesn't matter. Love it. Gonna see it. I never saw Roma, so I'm gonna watch that one. Heard of it, never got around to it. Perfect Days, heard of it, never got around to it. Public Enemy, seen, love. Oppenheimer, seen, love. The Mexico trilogy, seen it, loved it, haven't seen it in a while, so on and so forth. Next up, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. This one I bought off eBay for, I think, $15. It was still factory sealed. Little scratches here on the slipcover, but I really love this slipcover, which reminded me of the La La Land cover. And I think there's maybe one or two other covers that I have like that. And so I remember seeing this in the theaters and just thinking this reminds me so much of myself in terms of, kind of getting lost in your own imagination. And life is about courage and going into the unknown. I think this was a really great story. And this is also a remake of another film called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which was from around, if I'm not mistaken, the early 40s or 50s, which had to do with somebody, and I think it's World War I or II. It might have been one. We'll go into that in another video. But seen, loved, wanted. Next up, we've got Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is the Skynet edition, Blu-ray, thrifted. Can't wait to get into this. There are over 8 hours, it says, of interactive special features. That is bonkers. So we're going to break that down in another video. Then I talked about this last time, so I won't go over this too much. To Rome with Love. Then another family movie, Disney Pixar Up. Also love this. Blu-ray, DVD, digital. Next, Westside Story. Now, this is, again, one of my all-time favorite movies. This, Lucky Number 11, Sound of Music, a few others. And you can honestly catch me singing one of the songs from this movie at least once or twice a day. I have so many of the melodies from this soundtrack committed to my memory that I can't go a day without singing something from this. Again, we'll also do a separate video later down the road. That is the 50th anniversary edition. Then I picked this up, one, because it's a favorite movie of mine. It's a Wonderful Life. But I also didn't know that they did a colorized version of this and then the original black and white version. And it's on Blu-ray. So had to pick this up. This was, I think, maybe $4 or $5 Blu-ray. We've got another favorite, the X-Men 3-film collection, Blu-ray, DVD, digital. Not much more I really need to say about that. Then, finally, we are moving now into the Steelbook section. Now, I only have, I think it's 4 Steelbooks so far, but I may be picking up more in time. And these are also Blu-ray. We have Kill Bill Volume 1, Kill Bill Volume 2. Now, for those that don't know, Quentin Tarantino actually, both of these were done by him, and he actually considers Kill Bill 1 complete film, not 2. He only split it into 2 for studio reasons, commercial reasons, putting it out there because at the time didn't think that the public would want to sit through a 4-hour film. But since then, he has gone on to showcase it together in this edition called The Whole Bloody Affair, where, again, it's all 4 hours all together. I think that version is also in black and white. So I would have loved to pick that up or seen it somewhere, but I missed it every time. So I'm going to do a video on this at some point, watch both of them back to back, and we'll talk about it. So Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Then we've got Taken, Liam Neeson, 3-movie collection on Blu-ray and digital. Pick this up. This one I think cost me about $22. And I mean, for 3 films, I think that's not too bad. That's still pretty good. And again, I've only opened it to just double check, make sure the discs were okay. And they were, again, pristine. That's the original sort of little back description of what's inside. Then we've got the Boondock Saints. I've heard of it, never really got around to seeing it. An ex of mine really enjoyed this. So when I saw it, I picked it up, and that's what it looks like on the inside. Movie, special features. Open it up that way. And this was $1. Crazy, right? $1 for that. Then now we're getting into the DVDs. All right, folks, so we're in the very last section, and these are going to be DVDs. Again, most of my DVDs I picked up for about $1 at the local thrift stores, and I mean, I could spend, $20, spend an hour there, and pick up 20 in total. It was fantastic. The first one that I have is a favorite of mine. It's going to be 12 Monkeys, starring Bruce Willis, Madeline Stowe, and Brad Pitt. I think this was one of the very first films that I saw that ever dealt with the whole time-space continuum. Can you change the past? Will it affect the future? How many times has this thing happened before? Yada, yada, yada. Really, really good film. I would encourage you, see it if you haven't, and let me know your thoughts down below. It's got some cool bonus features, which I will check out later on. That is 12 Monkeys. Next up, talked about this in my thrift pick, so I won't go into it here. 21, Jim Sturgis, Kate Bosworth with Lawrence Fishburne and Kevin Spacey. That was $1, thrifted. Boom. Next up, we've got the 40-year-old version. This will be the unrated 17-minute longer version starring Steve Carell. This was also, I believe, one of my first introductions to Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen. And, I mean, they're all super funny guys. I love this group of, comedians, and had to have it. Got it. Also love that very, shiny, cover. Then we've got 50 First Dates, Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore. This is actually one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies because he's a bit more serious than he is comedic in here. And it's got a great story. It's just, she she was in an accident, has short-term memory loss, and every day her mind resets, her memory resets. So I think that makes for a really, really interesting premise. Watch it if you haven't seen it. It's really, really good. I actually just met him last night. Super cool guy, very down to earth, shy, a little bit shy. And yeah, next we've got 1408. John Cusack, Samuel L. Jackson. This includes the extended director's cut with an alternative ending, which, again, I told you I love that director's cut, based on the terrifying story by Stephen King. Now, little anecdote about this. I actually saw this when I was maybe 13, 14, 15, can't remember when it was, at my local laundromat. They would play these bootleg movies that they would get, and I remember being glued to the TV. I was supposed to be folding clothes, kept getting yelled at, hurry up, we gotta go. And I never got around to seeing it again, but I thought it was so compelling, just the level of, sort of terror you felt and just how gripping it was. So I'm glad to have it in my collection. I can't wait to rewatch this. I haven't yet, but it's October, Halloween's right around the corner, so I may dip into this one for sure. Then next up, we've got Amal. Now, I actually have never seen this. I've heard great things about it, and it's actually directed by the same director who did another film that I love, Chocolat, which stars Juliette Binoche, I believe is her name. And we've also featuring Johnny Depp in here. He has a very smaller role than I think people realize, but it was a really good story, really great film. I love it. I think I may actually do a double feature on these one day and review those. So that will be fun. That'll go in here. That was also thrifted. I think this one was maybe like $2.99. Then we move into science fiction. We've got Artificial Intelligence, Haley Joel Osment and Jude Law. Now, I remember seeing this as a kid, and I absolutely love this. And I really love, again, anything that has to do with artificial intelligence, robotics. Not that the idea of extending my own life, but just the sort of the thought experiment of what that world and that future looks like. So anything from, we've got artificial intelligence, I still want Bicentennial Man that stars Robin Williams. I think I have iRobot in here somewhere. What else? Her, that's another great one. So we got that in there. This is a 2-disc special edition. So yeah, a lot of these DVDs that I found in my local shop were like these either special editions or, it had a lot of features. So they were definitely great finds. And then we have About a Boy. Now, when I found this, it was still factory sealed. So that was a cool find. Again, this was, I think, $1, maybe $2. And I just think this is a really good story. What's his name? Nicholas Hoult in here. Fantastic. We've got 2 left. We've got 2-disc deluxe edition of Across the Universe. I think I've only seen this once, and I can't really remember it, but it was good. It was enjoyable. So I want to watch it again, see what that's all about. Plus, it's got Evan Rachel Wood. Evan Rachel Wood, she is a fantastic singer, by the way. And if I am not mistaken, she is also is she the voice in one of these Frozen movies? I think she is. I can't remember who she plays or who she's singing as. But yeah, that is a cool little fun fact in there. And so I'm going to rewatch that one soon. I'll probably wait till like November, October. I really want to lean into the scarier films within my collection and also streaming, and maybe pick up a few more scary movies, but not too many. I don't want to overload it just yet. And then last but not least, on this very first shelf here, which again, we've got VCD, video compact disc, we've got Blu-rays, we've got steelbooks, both in Blu-ray and then DVD, and then lastly DVDs. It's going to be one more double feature. This is Casablanca and The African Queen, both starring Humphrey Bogart. Alongside him in Casablanca, you've got Ingrid Bergman and Paul Heinrich. And then in here, we've got Katharine Hepburn. Now, never heard of this film, really love this film. And on the back, it says that we've got a few bonus features, not a whole lot, but a few, with Casablanca having a few more. I think you've got 2 separate commentaries on here, one by Roger Ebert, and film historian Rudy Belmer, along with some theatrical trailers and other little featurettes. Super, super cool. Still factory sealed, so haven't opened that one up just yet, but I think that's going to be fun to watch. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will do it for this first video. This, again, is part 1 of introduction to my collection. It'll still grow over time, so we'll update this in the future. But if you would like me to review any of these films that I've showcased here, please leave a comment down below. Let me know which ones. Again, especially a lot of these have bonus features on here that may give insight into something that you've been curious about. Let me know. I'll look for it and give you a heads up. All right. So that'll do it for today, folks. We'll have another film program up later this afternoon as well. If not, then by tomorrow morning, I will post that. But that will be it. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.